and welcome back to Lady Jane Books. Today I'm doing my March wrap-up and April TBR. Can we just stop for a second and appreciate that we are now entering into April 2021? Where is this time going? I have no idea. But what I do know is that I read some pretty great books in March and I want to discuss them with you. March 2021 was a fantastic reading month for me. I read some really interesting books. I did my very first author request review. The weather is finally getting a little bit nice around here, dare I say it. So overall, March was pretty great. And I want to talk about some of the books that I read in March with you. So let's get started. The first book that I read in March of 2021 was The Nothing Man. I picked this up on a total whim. I had no idea what this was about. It was in my recommendeds page. It was a total just impulse buy, and wow, I was impressed. The Nothing Man is about a girl who survives a brutal attack by a serial killer. The attack unfortunately kills her entire family, and she is the sole survivor. Now, years later, she is beginning to tell her story. But unbeknownst to her, the killer is listening. This was so good. It was a psychological thriller, kind of a crime mystery, action-packed type of book. And what I really liked is that it had the perspective of the killer as well as the victim. So there's a big like cat and mouse type of dynamic. Very good. Oh my gosh. So glad I read this in March. The next book that I read in March of 2021 was The Thing in the Woods by Matthew W. Quinn. I actually already have a full review about this book on my channel. I'm going to link it in the description and in the cards if you're interested. But long story short, this was my very first author requested review. I really enjoyed it, and if you want to know more, definitely go check out that video. Basically, this is a horror book that has a little bit of a sci-fi twist about a small town with big secrets. The next book that I started in March was The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. Now, full disclosure, I literally read 1.5 pages of this book. And it was very interesting, very exciting to read. However, I really wanted something quick to read, so I decided to stop reading that, postpone it, and instead I picked up I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. Now today I'm about 30% done with I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I am really enjoying it. It's very interesting. I have thoughts, I have feelings, and when I'm finished with it, I'm going to tell you about them. So those are all the books I read and started in March, and now I'm going to talk about the books that I'm hoping to read in April. The next book that I hope to continue in April is once again The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. Now I know, I've had this on my TBR for like the last 3 months, but I do suspect that it's going to be really great. So I want to be able to savor it. I want to be able to really dedicate my time and attention to this book because I've heard really great things about it. For those who do not know, I believe The Butterfly Garden is about a man who abducts girls and keeps them and refers to them as his butterfly collection, hence the butterflies. It sounds really creepy, it's really spooky. I've already really liked the couple of pages that I've already read, so I'm really hoping to continue on with that in April. Now, I mentioned in my review of The Thing in the Woods by Matthew Quinn that it is part of a series, and right now there is a sequel out to that book. The sequel is called The Atlanta Incursion, and I really want to pick it up. The Thing in the Woods has a type of cliffhanger at the very end, and so I'm really intrigued and want to continue on with that series. So I'm putting The Atlanta Incursion on my April TBR list. I believe The Atlanta Incursion picks up where The Thing in the Woods left off and continues the storyline with the characters and their scenario. So I'm thinking I might pick that up in April and continue on with the Long War series. The next book that I'm really hoping to get to in April is The One by John Mars. I recently hauled this one and there seems to be a lot of intrigue around it. The one is about this fictionalized company that claims to have found the soulmate gene. And through a quick DNA test, the company claims that it can pick out the perfect soulmate to match you. This sounds great, right? I mean, a DNA test to pure bliss, why not? But things seem to be a little bit more complicated than that. I have heard rave reviews about this one, and I've heard that a lot of people are very interested in reading it as well. So I want to put this one on my April TBR list. The next book that I hope to read is The Virgin by Wolverine. I have no idea if I'm saying that author name correctly at all. Sorry if I'm not, I don't know. I believe this is more of a tough, extreme horror type of book. And I first heard about it from Uptown Horror Reviews, one of my favorite booktube channels. And then I heard about it again when Kayla Lenzen reviewed it as well. Both of these booktubers are two of my favorites of all time. I'm going to link both of their channels in the description below if you want to hear their reviews on it. The Virgin is a horror book about a girl who is really, really low on money. So she decides to enter into a contest in order to gain some money. And this contest is not exactly The Price is Right. I'm just gonna say that. I believe it's something to do with she's trying to either sell or hang on to her flower. I mean, it's in the title, guys. I mean, okay, it's in the title. I can say it if it's in the title. I believe Kayla Lenzen really liked it. Uptown Horror Reviews had really great things to say about it. And I've heard that there's like a creepy basement situation and everybody talks about what's in the basement without telling what's in the basement. So I'm intrigued. I need to know what's in that basement. So I'm really hoping to add this one onto my April TBR list. And the last book that I hope to get to in April of 2021 is Where the Crawdads Sing. This has been everywhere on BookTube and on newsletters and reading newsletters and editorials. I've seen this book absolutely everywhere. I don't know too much about it because I want to go into it kind of blind because I've heard that it's a really, really great, engaging story. I think this is literary fiction. It's definitely not horror, but I've heard rave reviews about it. I believe it's part of Reese's book club, who I love her picks. I've read several of her picks, including Such a Fun Age, which is one of my favorite books of 2020. So knowing that this is like a Reese's book club is, you know it's gonna be good. You know it. I believe this takes place in the South, and there's a girl who kind of lives in a swamp, and she's kind of an outsider, but that's really all I know, and that might not be accurate whatsoever. I think this is gonna be a great warm weather read, and it is getting sunnier around here. The weather's getting a little bit warmer, it's getting a little nicer. So if I don't read this month, I'm definitely gonna read it some point this spring or summer. If you've read any of these books, or if you want to read any of these books, please comment down below and tell me which ones and why. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hello, and welcome back to Lady Jane Books. Today, I'm doing my March wrap-up, and I almost said August. You know what? Yeah. I think I've been like in this home way too long, and I don't know what day it is. I don't know what year it is. I don't know what month it is. I just don't know. I did my very first there I go again, G. I did my very first author review request. I did my very first author request review. So let's get started. The Nothing Man is about a girl who survives a brutal attack that murdered. The Nothing Man, The next book that I read in March was The Thing in the Woods. The next book I read in March was The next book that I read in March was It's not The Nothing Man. I just talked about The Nothing Man, Jane. Get it. You know what it is? I didn't have a second cup of tea today. That's my problem. That's it. That's why this Jane is here. Disorganized Jane is here in the house today. Oh crap, I didn't put away the mayo. Oh, I will. Get my notebook, get my notebook. There is a series that Atlanta. I have heard rave reviews about this one, and I've heard that a lot of people are very interested in reading it as well. So I want to put this on. Excuse me. I need a cup of tea. First I need to put the mayo away, but then I need a cup of tea.